I need to get water, so I will be right back. We are back. With water, as you need for your human life. Don't forget that you need water. Water's super duper important for your existence. Continue. Machinist, cycle 18. 1, 2, 3, go. I feel like my speakers might be too loud. Okay. I don't have any way to fix my dice, which is scary. Okay? All of this because Spindle Core Chaya or oh, look, there's docks. Good afternoon, or rather good evening, Walter. I hope you're doing good. I am barely functioning in this game. I did a funny little thing and I messed up some of my dice before I have the chance to learn how to fix them. So that's the thing that happened. The weekend is over. That's right. I'm gonna try a risky dice. We discovered a new location. Hello, hello, Dan. Hello, hello. We can buy scrap and process raw scrap, and we can also do a scrap shift. The time zone, it does time, it does zone. Oh, I have to earn a meal? Nice. I'm on my way to impressing Nemba. But I also, because I forked myself over, I have extremely limited dice rolls. Oh, you awake to the sound of blaring proximity alarms. You quickly unstrap from your bunk and dizzily glance around. Lane? Bounty hunters? You kick off and glide to the door. As you do, Bliss pops their head around the corner. Sorry. They look a little sheepish. In all honesty, it's not my fault. Your wiring's all backwards. It takes you a moment to understand what's happening. You steady yourself against the doorframe. Seriously, Bliss? Bliss looks down. I said sorry. I'm handling it, they mumble.
Just watched a video of a girl.
It takes you a while to get ready and drift down to the mess to see what's happening. By then, Bliss has turned off the alarms. You find them unspooling wires from the hatch you'd never previously noticed in the mess's ceiling. Sorry again, Sleeper. The voice comes through the ceiling panels, muffled and dull. You settle at a stool, neatly tucking your legs behind the crossbar. How are the repairs coming, or how are you doing? How are you doing? Me? Bliss's muffled voice echoes around the room. I'm working. A pause. Helps keep my mind off things. How's the ship? Bliss spins deftly, hooking their legs into the open ceiling so that from your perspective, they're hanging upside down. Almost done, if you can believe it. Their messy hair floats around their head. A couple of cycles worth of diagnostics, and I'll be happy enough to release her back to you. The yawning Seraphim drifts in. He looks between the two of you, amused. What are you both doing up so early? You and Bliss exchange amused looks. What? Seraphim asks. You didn't hear the alarm? He shrugs. Heavy sleeper. He drifts over to the mess's cupboards to hunt for some breakfast. You turn back to Bliss, and they have disappeared back into the ceiling panels. Before long, the mess is filled with the shrill screech of a power tool. Seraphim looks totally unaffected and hooks himself onto a stool, lazily sucking at a ration pouch while he taps away at his slate. The screech finally stops. After a while, you kick off from your stool. Time to head out. Bliss rushes after you, stopping you in the passageway before you can leave. I have something I want to show you. Bliss leads you off the main corridor into a corner of the ship you don't remember visiting before. You come into a room with low sloped ceilings, a single round window illuminating some neat tool storage, and a workbench set into the wall. Look, it does have great style. Have you played the first one? Bliss is actually a character from the first game. Look, Bliss begins. I'm no specialist, but I'm a quick learner and good at repairs. They smile, and I think you have need of me. They glance at you, at a tear in the thick vinyl skin of your arm. Can I take a look? Okay. They smile and lead you towards the workbench. They turn your arm, looking at the tear from all angles. They reach over the workbench and take a small sealant gun from the rack. You look at the setup. It's basic, but it looks clean and well organized. They gently nudge. You've played none. Well, I don't think you really need to play the first game to play this game. It provides context, but it's not, it's so far not directly related. They gently close the tear with sealant. Press the edges together so it closes up neatly. After they're done, they release your arm and you can barely see the scar. Bliss admires their work. See? They smile. I know it's more serious than a tear. Bliss folds their arms, but I can handle it. They turn and search through a set of metal drawers for a moment. Here, they produce a couple of carefully machined, pristine components. Was saving these for an important job. They wink. I guess I just found it. Bliss pushes the components into your hands. Take them. When you're ready, come up here and we'll fix you up. And these are a rare find, though. In the future, we might have to make do with something lower quality. They wince. You can find scrap components at most scrapper ships, like that one that's hanging around the underhang. The better the components, the easier they'll integrate with your system. Bliss leans on the workbench. I'll do my best to keep you running. Thank you. Don't worry about it, they shrug. You're a guest in my bay, and I can't have my guest bodies collapsing, can I? Plus, I think it benefits me if you think of me as indispensable, Bliss smiles. I think I should get back to fixing the ship. They leave you in the workshop among the simple tools, considering the particular qualities of your new friend. Dice repair, it's available now. You can repair your dice at the rig workshop. You can only repair dice which are fully broken. Repairs require either scrap components or rare components. The better components you use, the less glitches you will suffer. You cannot repair dice during a contract. Let's see, I have some scrap, don't I? No? I have a rare component. Alrighty, woo. Now I can go do things. What was I doing down here? A negative outcome. Poop. Nemba's kitchen. My engage is terrible, just like me in real life. Hey! A new location has been discovered. What? Really? Where? I don't see it. You lied to me? No. Gaia's... Gyre, a kelp-centric bar. Order Iraq. Iraq is a seaweed-based liquor with a powerful saline taste. Gaia's Gyre has a reputation for serving it neat and strong. Spend enough time at the bar and they'll like you. I'm gonna get wrecked. Far Spindle. The Far Spindle is an exhausting place to find freelancers. There's no shortage of spacers here. The corridors and bays throng with crew inbound and outbound, on or between contracts, trading stories, contacts, and materials. But whatever language, appearance, or code identifies someone as worth signing on with, you don't seem to have it. Perhaps it's because you're a new face, or are noticeably unsure. Or perhaps it's just because you are a sleeper. You push the thought to the back of your mind, and instead focus on what's in front of you, the vast cylindrical tank at the center of Gaia's Gyre. The first time you entered the bar, you stopped and looked at your phone, and you forgot you were reading something in the middle of reading something. You floated open-mouthed, much like all the new arrivals do. At the sight of the huge kelp stack, the biggest you've ever seen, even now your eyes fixed on the fronds of seaweed that wave in the circulating water. Beyond the curve of dirty glass, you find it impressive. You take a sip of the harsh, saline-scented rack from its magnetic vessel, secured to the bar. As you suck on the straw, your eyes following the shifting fronds, you hear someone clearing their throat beside you at the bar. Hypnotic, isn't it? The voice is low and rumbling, and comes from the large figure on the stool next to you. The fluorescent lights behind the bar glint in his eyes, shining up into his wide, rough face. I heard talk you're hiring. The figure turns to face you. You don't recognize him, but in the shifting light of Gaia's Gaia, that isn't surprising. And you are? Eugen, currently freelance. He turns on his stool and leans back a little. The effect is clearly meant to impress you on his size. You have to admit it works. Served on a whole slate of crews out in the spindle. Cutters, mercs, extractors. He smiles and places a broad hand on his chest. Broad skill set, good work ethic, sense of humor, the full package. Humble, too. He clucks his tongue, smiling. I like you already. We're going to get on. I'll run anything out of the far spindle. I'm tough and quiet, and you won't need to worry about me. He folds his arms across his chest. What kind of work are we talking about? Before you can answer, a voice echoes out from behind you. Eugen! You look over your shoulder for the source of the shout. Busy as ever, I see. A group of 3 spacers drift up behind you, one of them placing a heavy hand on your shoulder. She is fitted with matte metal optical implants, and you cannot see her eyes. The caustic light from the tank plays across her face. Too busy to keep in touch, she sighs. I really don't like it when I have to come and find you. Vesna, Eugen nods politely at her, not betraying any strong reaction. Do I look like I'm socializing? He shakes his head. This is a meeting. Oh, a meeting. Vesna squeezes your shoulder. Is that what this is? Yes, Vesna. We're talking about your delivery, in fact. Eugen smiles widely. My friend here is being very helpful. He shoots you a knowing glance. That's right. Vesna turns to you with a raised eyebrow, but before she can speak, Eugen cuts in. This sleeper has a unique ability to extract data. Eugen smiles at Vesna. Exactly the kind of data you've been asking for. So, if we can just get back to it, Eugen gestures toward you, then I can deliver what you need. You know, Eugen, I'm pretty tired of this whole act. She gestures dismissively at him. But in the end, it doesn't matter. She drops a hand from your shoulder to her belt. Your eyes follow it down. You see a dark, boxy shape there. A weapon? You either deliver by the deadline, or you don't. And when you don't, she smiles tightly, I'll be happy to take you through the consequences. Until then, she shoots you a final glance. Chat to whoever the hell you want. But in the end, it doesn't even matter. Vesna and the 2 spacers flanking her glide out of the bar, and Eugen watches them go with little emotion. So, Eugen's smile returns. You were about to hire me? I was. Well then, he smiles. Put that little interruption out of your mind. Vesna just wants to scare you off. She likes to cause me trouble. Eugen looks away, out of the door of the bar. Let's not let her. He pauses in silence for a moment, still looking away. You try to get a read on him, but his face is blank. Only his glittering eyes hint at some rapid internal activity. He turns back to you and meets your eye. A sudden shift in his manner obvious. If you need crew, you need to work. If you need work, you need cryo. Is that right? He doesn't stop for an answer. Well, I can offer both. Hard work and a good contract with a good payout. You take me with you on this job of mine and we'll split the take. He looks down thinking, hell, if you do, I'll consider signing on long term. Think on that. No more recruiting. What's the job? Salvage. He leans in. I know of a wreck untouched by the local crews, which recently turned up in the wash. It's just a little sunward from here, but its disabled transponder makes it invisible to anyone who doesn't know it's there. Had to squeeze the location out of a contact, but I'll share it with you for a straight split. Take me and your crew, and we'll claim it all. It's going to be a good payout. He winks. A really good one. What's the catch? Eugen frowns. No catch. He leans back and looks around the bar. Happy to take the offer elsewhere. I just felt like you were the right captain for this one. I'll be ready to go whenever you like. Eugen pauses. As a show of good faith, I'll also fly out with you on any job from the far spindle. But I'm not leaving the station with you yet. Not till we get my job done first. After that, we can talk flying together. No need to rush into it. He shakes your hand firmly, his palm rough and pitted, and then turns back to his drink. You slip out of the bar, looking to see if Vesna is nearby. You don't spot her among the passing crews, but you can't help but imagine eyes on you in the bar. You shake it off. You have become familiar with the feeling of being observed. What matters is you have found yourself a crew member and a contract. Whether either will come good, however, remains to be seen. We have an upgrade point. Maybe I should make my interface better. My Engage is always gonna suck. I knew that. I was okay with that. I have no more dice, so I need to go home. I need to go home and lay down. Where's home? Home. Where did I leave you? Where did I leave you? Oh, there you are. Let's see. Now I want him to scavenge fuel. You jerk, suddenly awake. A fragment is lodged in your mind. A shard of sound. A signal. A tone. It resonates like tinnitus. Obviously internal. Inescapable. You're unbelievable. You look down to see your hands blurred, your fingers dancing as if they were typing. Settle them. Your fingers flap like caught birds. Take control. It takes all your focus to settle them. You force yourself back into them, a sensation like squeezing on a tight pair of gloves. You flex your hands a little to feel them, test them. What was that? You take a deep breath to calm yourself, but as you do, you're reminded that you don't need to breathe. It is a claustrophobic sensation that you cannot shake. You get up, push off the wall, pull on your clothes, anything to escape the dreams that hover at the back of your mind. Seraphin drifts in casually, heading to his bunk to grab something. You can't shake the strange sensation that he has just drifted into your mind. He shoots you a glance. I said, "Are you okay?" He gives you a concerned look. "You look terrible." "Not really," you mumble a response. "You need to talk to me, Sleeper." Seraphin gives you a look. He sighs. "I know something happened back when we were leaving Hexport." "The explosion?" "Not the explosion." He shakes his head. "I saw it, Sleeper." "Saw something change in your eyes." He pauses, looking for the right way to explain. "They were cold. Fixed. I've never seen that look before." He looks away. "Back when we first met, I knew at once you were human. I knew because of your eyes. I'd never met a sleeper before, but I knew immediately that you were no machine. It was obvious. But then, on the rig, he shivers. I couldn't see that anymore. I don't know what happened. What did it feel like? He gives you a cautious look. Try to identify it. Woohoo! You close your eyes because we correctly identified it and recall the moment. You remember Lane's voice, the rig hot and close, the numbness, and then you see it glittering in the non-space of your mind. A thin and bright, like spider silk, a thread, a connection between your mind and something else. You open your eyes to Seraphine's expectant face. You try to think how to describe what you just felt, but words fail you. Still, you know you felt it. The invisible hand of a signal linked to your mind. And the thought makes you shiver. We need to get you checked up. We need to know what's happening. Seraphine gives you a stubborn stare. This isn't just about you. But where? I've been asking around. Seraphine's face is set with determination now. There's another station near this one. Flotsam. It's a mess, an accumulation of wrecks and dock ships, but it also houses some of the best artificers in the wash. We should go there as soon as the rig is ready. Okay, I'll go. Thank you. Look, he pauses. I don't know what it's like to be a sleeper. I understand there are things you can't tell me, can't show me, but I do know how fear can keep you from doing what you need to do. I'm not going to nag you about it, he sighs, but it needs to be done. He passes by you as he leaves the bunks, squeezing your shoulder as he does, leaving you to your thoughts. You finish getting dressed, feeling your body, its strangeness, even though you wish you didn't. At the very least, you think you need to find someone who can stop you from falling apart. Maybe Flotsam is not such a bad idea. You push the thought to the back of your mind. There's a cycle ahead, and the rig isn't ready. When it is, then you'll see. Look. As you glide through the Pinnacle docks, you hear a shouting echoing down a corridor. You tentatively change direction, your eyes fixed ahead as the passage widens out into a large bay. Others rush past you, heading towards the commotion. Your eyes are drawn by the bay's vast viewing window, which is currently being spattered with glittering shards of ice. In front of it, a dock worker is shouting to anyone who will listen. Spacers, workers of the Far Spindle, we need your urgent assistance. The water carrier Springtide has suffered heavy damage in its transit from Wellspring. He takes a breath. All able hands, we need you to help secure the cargo. Without this water, Far Spindle will struggle to support you. He looks desperately at the crowd. Please, any of you who are able to help, please make yourself known. Behind him, a corona of ice ejects from one of the ship tanks, drawing a pale halo around the ship. A handful of experienced-looking spacers push through the crowd towards the front, and dock workers start to direct them to nearby bridges. You watch the scene unfold, hesitant in the face of making someone else's problem your own. What? It didn't... Oh, okay. So, we just don't help. I get you. The springtide. Okay. We can either endure. Now we can help. Alright. That's as far as we can go right now. Let me process some raw scrap here. Thank you. Process scrap. Spindle's edge. That's home. This is Gaia. Cupcakes. They give you 4 energy, not 2. I thought they did 2. That was my own silly billion willy-nilly. End the cycle. It's only been 30 minutes, and yet we've done so much. As you drift lazily down the ship's mess, you hear raised voices. You still yourself for a moment at the entrance, and then slip inside. Seraphon sits, hooked onto his usual stool, his slate glowing behind him. He's shaking his head as you enter. Bliss, meanwhile, is floating freely, gesticulating sharply as they explain something important. I don't see why not, Bliss chops at the air. It's not like you have an alternative. We can get the cryo. It'll take time, but we can get it. That was the deal. Seraphon speaks calmly, trying to placate Bliss. Sleeper! Bliss spots you entering. They turn to Seraphon. Let's see what Sleeper thinks about it. About what? They both fall silent for a moment, and Seraphon sighs. The rig's ready, Sleeper. Bliss gestures around the mess. I've fixed it. Hell, I've improved it. She's purring thanks to me. Now, wouldn't you say, having done such an incredible job, I deserve to be paid properly for my work? A calculated look crosses their face. A refit and retune like this would typically cost my clients hundreds of cryo, even if I was feeling charitable. Seraphon sighs loudly. He knows where this is going. See, I could make you pay, and maybe you could even scrap the cryo up, but not without taking a contract and taking the ship off the station, leaving me in the lurch. We wouldn't do that, Seraphon starts, but Bliss holds a hand to shush him. So I have a proposition. One that clears the debt completely. They pause. I will turn around the open sign on this little bay of mine and join up with you. You keep me in the work, give me my split, give me my transit to wherever you're headed, and I'll even keep this rig of yours working for free. They shrug. What could be better than that? Us paying and being on our way with no hangers on? Seraphon folds his arms and looks at you. Tell them, Sleeper. Actually, we could use their help. Bliss grins at Seraphon. See, Sleeper gets it. You can use my help. I'm an excellent engineer, a tidy shipmate, and a half-decent chef. I'm done with the far spindle. I'm done not taking enough jobs for enough cryo on a station where I know nobody. They pause, satisfied. You're welcome. Seraphon holds up his hands. Look, we appreciate it, but we are on the run, Bliss. Trust me, you're better off here. He gives them a serious look. Even telling you this could put you in danger. Bliss pauses, and then they start laughing. On the run? They shake their head, smiling. You expect me to be scared off by that goofy shit? So we have no choice? Doesn't look like it, does it? I know you were at Hexport. Seraphon looks at them, open-mouthed, searching for a retort. What happened there? Who's to say it won't happen here? I'm not sitting around watching this all play out any longer. They take a deep breath. Something has to give. Bliss turns to Seraphine. You look at... Look, you've done your due diligence or whatever. You are on the run. I've been warned. I accept the risks. That's it. At the end of the day, your ship is clamped into my bay, so unless you know my encryption protocols, there's not much left to discuss. Seraphine shakes his head, a small smile crossing his face. They've got us there. He looks at you, and then at Bliss. Looks like we've gained a crewmate. He unhooks from his stool. But I'm moving to the engine room. He drifts towards the bunks to gather his things. You and Bliss exchange a nervous look. Sleeper. Welcome aboard. Bliss smiles and gives you a half-hearted mock salute. You leave Bliss in the galley and head for the cockpit. The rig is ready to fly again, but the question is, where to take her next? Seraphine mentioned Flotsam, a short starward journey from here, as a busy station where you might find an artificer to help diagnose your glitches and errors. Sunward, meanwhile, is the Hellion Gate, an abandoned and uninhabited mega-structure left over from the Solheim days. Maybe good for salvage, but not an easy place to survive. And beyond that? Well, they say the belt is wide, and at least now you have a functioning ship. You have unlocked the belt map. Go to the map and press the belt button to travel to other hubs and discover new parts of the Starward Belt. Eugen has the location of a lost wreck, he says, that holds some priceless salvage. Is it a wild goose chase, or... Let's go. Travel. Confirm. I have decided. We're going. I did not get any fuel. This is not what you promised. Seraphine turns to Eugen with a raised eyebrow. Looking out across the field of debris scattered around the small asteroid whose gravity has kept them here, you have to agree. Where do you even start looking? Eugen shrugs, unfazed. I said the wreck was hidden. Transponder off, no flight records. I didn't say it was intact. If it was an easy job, I wouldn't have come with your crew. Could have just grabbed it myself. He winks. We all earn our share. That's definitely more than one wreck. Bliss is leaning towards the window, staring out at the glittering debris. I see at least 3, maybe 4 different engine housings out there. Seraphine sighs. You really think there's something of value to be pulled from all that? I know there is. My tip-off is good. We just need to find the right part. He looks out at the wide field of debris of the right ship. Let's get to it. Hold up. Seraphine raises a hand. Eugen, can you at least tell us what needle we're looking for in this haystack? What I know is that a wreck with an item of great value is out there. That's it. He unstraps from his seat. Are you all afraid of some hard work? Is that it? Seraphine starts laughing. So you're telling me we don't know what we're looking for, where it is, or what it's worth? Trust me or don't, Eugen shrugs. And this will be worth your while. It's a hot tip. Sleeper, please. Seraphine turns to you, exasperated. Suddenly, a percussive beep interrupts the conversation. All of you turn your attention to Seraphine's terminal. What the? He taps a few keys. We've got an incoming ship. The transponder just popped up. See, what did I say? A hot tip. We better claim it before they do. He jabs a finger at the readout. Okay, clock's ticking. I see a few obvious sites, large bits of debris, clear hull sections. We should focus on those. See you lucky kids in the airlock. Ready, Cap? Eugen slaps you on the shoulder and kicks off through the cockpit door. Turn to Seraphine. I do not like that guy, Seraphine said. Give him a chance. Seraphine turns back to his terminal. Hey, you're the one that has to go out there with him. Look, Seraphine glances back over his shoulder. Just be careful. You nod and glide through the cockpit door. Blah, 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 blah. See, I have 2 water bottles that I can drink from, or this stream specifically. And I thought if I started earlier, it wouldn't be so hard. But I guess just reading out loud makes me trip. over my own face. Already trying to map the scattered debris in your mind. Let's see. Crushed shuttle, pitted asteroid, or scattered wrecks. And we got shuttle access. Scrape the terminal's data scroll? Guess that has to be me. Okay. Not quite where I want to be with that, and that's alright. Nobody has any more that kind. Incoming vessel, we only have 2 turns. End the cycle. Nice. Okay, they're gonna be here tomorrow, so I hope they're not gonna try to kill us. I hope not. Eugen, you piece of shit, where are you? The distorted voice rattles through the ship as you are all finishing your breakfast in the mess. Everyone turns to look at Eugen, Seraphim already shaking his head. Vesna, he says under his breath. You suddenly recall the steel-eyed captain who confronted Eugen at the gyre back on the far spindle. Open this airlock before I do something I'll regret. As her voice echoes through the room, you realize she must be at the rig's entry lock, using the comms panel out there to speak into the ship. Let her in. You kick off towards the door, but Seraphim drifts between you and the exit. Sleeper, are you sure about this? You can see he is angry, but also looking to you for reassurance. Relax, I've got this. Seraphim raises an eyebrow. I like your confidence, Sleeper, but the moment this starts to go south, he shoots Eugen a glance. We're booting them both out. Eugen follows as you glide down the airlock to hit the control for the exterior door. Let me handle her. You've done enough. He looks away, annoyed, but drifts back a little. You watch as the airlock cycles and you see the silhouette of Vesna through the viewing window as she removes the helmet of her suit. You prepare yourself for whatever comes next, hoping that Seraphine is somewhere nearby. Thank you. Vesna floats through the airlock, her eye implants making it hard to read her expression. I prefer not to have to stand outside banging on the door. She turns to Eugen, seeing him behind you. But I also prefer when my contractors don't try to screw me over. Let her talk to him. Is this how you treat all your clients, Eugen? Promise to deliver the coordinates they helped you find, and then instead, when you find out their value, go to another crew to try to steal the prize out from under their nose? I knew you were an amateur, she smiles, but I didn't know you were an idiot too. Tell whatever stories you want, Vesna. Until I'm paid, there's no deal. Did you pay me, Vesna? Vesna looks frustrated. You know as well as I do that the payment was on the receipt of the coordinates. Well, sorry to say I won't be able to deliver. Deal's off. You piece of shit. Vesna's hand goes to her hip. Now, you're a guest on this ship. Seraphine's voice comes from somewhere behind you. Let's all remember that. You turn back to see Seraphine holding a hull bolter on his waist, its wide muzzle trained on Vesna. Vesna lets her hand go loose at her side, abandoning her threat. Of course, she sighs. I thought you might all see the breach of trust in this situation, but I was wrong. I don't want to escalate this. I don't want to escalate this. On that, we are agreed. She backs a little towards the airlock door. Eugen, she looks at the freelancer. Don't think I'll back off. My team can find this thing faster than any mongrel crew. First to the prize takes all. May the better crew win. She smiles. Indeed. Vesna slips back into the airlock and hits the control panel. The doors scissor shut. Eugen suddenly tumbles forward as something hits him in the side of the head. Idiot! Seraphine stands behind Eugen, having swung the heavy muzzle of the hull bolter directly into his head. If you ever put this crew in danger like that again... Seraphine is right. Eugen catches himself on the wall. It's okay. He wipes the blood from his forehead. I get it. That was sloppy. Your whole thing is sloppy. Seraphine bristles. This is how you get yourself killed. As much as I'm enjoying this display of aggression and idiocy, Grace's voice comes from behind you all. We still have a contract to complete. They push past to start suiting up. And now we have competition. We should leave. Seraphine slings the hull bolter onto his shoulder. Cut our losses. Now wait, Eugen swipes the corner of his mouth with the back of his hand. All this and you're gonna give up and turn tail? Eugen is right. Shit. Seraphine sighs. You are right. Alright. He glides over to Eugen, pats him on the shoulder. Time for you to prove your worth. I'll be watching. That's it, he's done. Okay. Where can I throw my one and not expect to hurt myself. Great. Vesna's hunt. Vesna is determined to find the wreck and claim its prize. If you don't get it first, this will all be for nothing. I can't believe he's already too freaking stressed out to be of any use now. Okay. Ooh, this is his wreck. The wreck's outer door is sealed and reinforced. The only way in will be with the access cipher. Perhaps there's one elsewhere. Wreck unlocked. -1 unstable cipher. The wreck's doors grind open to a dark and dusty interior. Time to head in. Okay. That's engineer stuff. I should be able to do that. Mia and Bliss. Got this. Eugen really dropped the ball here. I'm also taking some hits with my dice and my stress. Unsealing secrets. This must be the wreck Eugen wanted to find. You wonder what valuable treasures wait inside its cargo bay. And now we're gonna find out. The cargo bay doors shudder open in silence as Eugen levers them apart. This is it, the final layer to pull back before you can reach Eugen's mysterious prize. You can't help but feel a little excited. There's also a sense of satisfaction to the idea that you beat Vesna's crew to the wreck. You found it. You cracked it open, and now you will be the one to reap the rewards. Now we're going to focus on the job because basking in success might be good for morale, but it's not going to get shit done. The doors are open enough for a person to glide through now. Beyond, there is only the darkness of the cargo bay. You follow Eugen in the headlamps on your suit, lighting his back and the dusty void beyond. You see the boxes appear, as if by magic, out of the dark. Eugen glides past them. Does he not see them? You stop and take a look at the loot. A stack of 4 sealed boxes sit in the middle of the bay, their armored exteriors caked in dust. You wipe it away and squint at the aging label. They look like industrial ship components, still sealed, totally untouched. In the belt, where most tech has been through hundreds of hands, patched up and reconfigured, this is a solid hull, but not the kind of hull that gets crews fighting over it. Something doesn't add up. They aren't here. Eugen's voice cracks through the radio. Where are you? Back wall of the bay. Come see. You kick off from the crates and glide through the dark until you see Eugen, the back wall of the cargo bay, and something that confuses you for a second. A ragged circle around Eugen. You squint. Inside it, tiny lights twinkle. It takes you a moment, but you slowly realize that you are looking through a hole in the wall to the stars beyond. Someone beat us to it. His voice is flat. They are long gone. Are you serious? Look for yourself. This happened a while ago. They punched in and took it. What was it? Eugen turns back to you, his face pale in your torch headlights. He seems to be lost for words. Folks, Bliss's voice comes through the suit comms channel. I've got Seraphin's crew telling me Vesna's crew are heading this way. So whatever you've gotten there, if you want to keep it, grab it and get out now. I'm already heading for the rig. I'll get the cargo bay open and prep for your arrival. They pause. Don't dawdle. Take one last look. You scan the bay and notice braces built into the floor near the hole. Whatever this thing was, it was big and tied down. Eugen suddenly seems to regain his focus. The crates. Let's grab them and go. You glide back across the bay, your mind still racing with questions. Something about Eugen's reaction tells you that he knew what he was expecting to find here. If that's the case, you think, it's yet another lie he's told you. You both reach the crates and quickly lash them together, guiding them weightlessly out of the room between you. As you do, you meet eyes with Eugen and he looks away. I really hope you two idiots are on your way back, Seraphin chirps over the radio, because Vesna's boys are just about to reach that wreck you're on. We're inbound, Eugen quickly responds, then clicks his radio off. Well, Seraphin continues. Tell me then, what ancient and powerful treasure did you find in that thing? Gold? A Conway warhead? 3 crates of components. Seriously? Sleeper, me and you are gonna need to have a serious chat. You cross the debris field to the ship in silence, your eyes on the scrap for a sign of Vesna's crew. You didn't think they'd ambush you, but then again you wouldn't put it past them. As you reach the cargo bay and guide the crates through the open door, you shoot Eugen a final glance. Give me time, he says quietly over the radio. I'll explain in time. You consider pressing him, even shouting at him, but you realize there will be plenty of time for that on the journey back to the Far Spindle. For now, you just want to get out of here. Woohoo! We beat Vesna to the wreck. Oh, I forgot. My supplies are empty. I might as well just go. Eugen has spent the journey back to the Far Spindle avoiding Seraphin as best he can. It might be that he is afraid, but you get the feeling it's more likely that he has been making himself scarce out of a genuine sense of regret. Seraphin, however, doesn't see his behavior so favorably. Slimy shit won't even show his face, Seraphin complains loudly as he finalizes docking. Put us in a spacer's cruise sites with no care for anyone but himself. Enough, Seraphin. Seraphin turns to shoot you an irritated look, but as he does, you see his eyes jump to the door behind you. You hear the rustle of movement behind your head and turn to see Eugen in the cockpit's doorway, a rare, serious expression on his face. I owe you all an explanation. His voice is low and steady. Believe it or not, this was not my plan. Yeah, your plan was to find the loot in that wreck, split with it, wasn't it, big man? Seraphin glares at Eugen. No, Eugen gives him a tired look. It wasn't. Hear him out, Seraphin. Bliss cuts in from the back of the cockpit. Vesna has been searching for a ship. Eugen looks over your heads at the far spindle. An infamous ship. Seemed like she already had a ship. Seraphin interrupts. That was part of the problem. Not a rig. Eugen looks down towards him. A fraction drive ship. An interstellar ship. That seems to shut Seraphin up. And you don't blame him. An interstellar ship here, in the belt? That's tech from the core systems. Why didn't you say? I shouldn't even be telling you now. Eugen frowns. Word gets out that there's a factory fresh faction ship somewhere in the belt. People kill for less. He shakes his head. Gangs kill for much less. You're telling me there's a faction ship that no one has ever found that's been sitting here since... when? Seraphin shakes his head. Since the collapse? Believe it or not, that's exactly it. Eugen looks at you. Vesna put me on the trail. She wanted me to find its location for repayment. He looks away. An old debt. But the moment I found the data that verified its existence, that confirmed the ship was out there, I couldn't give it to her. And that's when you found me. Why keep it from her? Eugen folds his arms. You may have met Vesna, but you don't know her. Eugen meets her eye. She's one of the last people in the belt who should have a ship like that. Well, no one has the ship now, if it even exists. Need I remind you that it wasn't there? Your data was a bust. No, Eugen shakes his head. It was there once. Those wrecks? Those are the ships that fought over the fraction ship. A bunch of Solheim corporates who wanted to get out of the system when it all came down. And that ship was their ticket. The Aphelion path? Eugen looks out at the far spindle. It was there, but someone moved it, hid it, long before we got there. Sounds like a fantasy to me. Eugen nods. I believe in this fantasy, Sleeper. Eugen inhales long and deep. I'm sorry, Sleeper. He looks at Bliss and Seraphin, and to you both as well. I wanted to keep this secret. I wanted to find the Aphelion path, and I knew that, if I did, you would understand. Still, I was wrong to manipulate you. He bows his head. But I'm not done. He raises his head, his gaze hard now. I will find the ship, and I will leave the belt. How will you do that? Seraphin shoots him a sly look. With no ship of your own, and Vesna at your back. Eugen ignores him and moves closer to you. Sleeper, I will uphold our deal. I will serve on your crew. And when I have news of the Aphelion, you will know. That is what we agreed. Seraphin turns to you. I know. I always say it, but this time you have to listen, Sleeper. This guy is no good. I've known his type. Don't bring him in. This can be your escape too, Sleeper. Eugen meets your eye. Actually, I don't know if I want to believe in that fantasy. Is that weird? I kind of don't want to. I kind of want to tell him to get off my ship. Enjoy the lurk, Jer. I'm having a crisis. And you know what that means? I should probably just take a break. I don't know if I want to believe in his fantasy of a ship that will get them out of the belt. Interstellar travel sounds amazing, though. Sure, let's dream. Why not? I am a sleeper after all. Seraphin sighs, getting up from his seat. You've got a lot to prove. He passes close to Eugen as he leaves. You better get on with it. Eugen meets his eye, but says nothing. When Seraphin gone, he looks to you and nods. Thank you. He turns and leaves too. Quite the ragtag group we have here. Bliss nudges past you. I know you understand what a second chance means for you, Sleeper, but I'm glad to see that you understand that others need the same. They slip out before you can respond. Ye stare out of the cockpit at the light of the far spindle. You hope Eugen understands his mistake, and you hope even harder that Vesna doesn't hold a grudge, even though you know for a fact that she does. You sigh. The bunks are going to need expanding at this rate. Something flickers in the back of your mind. You stop. You have to stop, to blink it away. It is a tightness behind your left eye, an aching point that refuses to move. And then the voice begins, hissing through the background noise of the rig systems, a new whine amongst the chorus of life support and ventilation. Sleeper, the hiss brings Lane's sharp features to mind. I suppose you thought you slipped my net. Hexport jumps into your mind, an image of the station immolating in the white light, though you were not conscious to witness it. You are distant, his voice hisses into white noise, but you are not free of me yet. I'm coming, Sleeper, and I will retake control of what is mine. The closer I come to you, the more you will feel it. Lane moves your finger to tap your forehead, in here, until you cannot resist. A bright smile, pale eyes, and a growing hiss that hunts. That hurts. Then the hiss is gone. The rig is suddenly quiet, the stinging tightness diffusing behind your eyes, but the fear remains. Sleeper? You good? Seraphin is there, floating by your berth. You were talking. Lane is coming. Seraphin looks alarmed. You feel him, right? He looks away. We can use that. Stay ahead of him. He squeezes your shoulder. We can do this. We are fast and smart. We keep moving. We don't stay anywhere for long. And we find a way, he frowns. Somehow. You nod. You do not know how Lane is able to reach into your mind like this, how he is able to speak into you, but you want so desperately for it to stop. You must find out what he's done to you before it's too late. You must stay ahead of Lane at all costs. Oh my god. Lane is hunting you once again. His progress will be tracked by the hunt clock. If this is filled, he will catch up with you. It will increase once every cycle you spend in the hub. However, each time you travel, the hunt will reduce by 3. If you keep moving, you can stay one step ahead of Lane. Let's see. We discovered a new location. Signal station. A line of rays. Or interpret signals. Oops. We got a negative outcome, folks. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, good. All the glitch. Okay, recovery failed. Pinnacle Explorer. The Venture Bar Shift. Negative outcome. That's alright. I know of a good place that has kelp cakes. That will give me lots of energy. Okay. Alright. It hasn't been very long. But you know what? I haven't actually taken a break, so I should probably do that. We're gonna leave you with the glorious background music here. And we're gonna go take a break. And we're back and ready. Oh, I forgot to end the cycle. Sleeper. Seraphin catches your attention as you're going to leave the ship. Can I have a minute? Of course. Seraphin ducks into a maintenance passage and waits for you to follow. In the narrow passage, framed by loose wires and thick conduits, Seraphin suddenly looks small, trapped. He looks at an open circuitry panel as he speaks, avoiding your gaze. You see he's playing with a coin in his hand, nervously spinning it in the air. Since we cleared Hexport, I've been putting out feelers for something. He rubs his hands nervously. I've been in the belt a long time. I came here alone. But back on Darkside, just before we made a break for it, I heard something. I heard someone was looking for me. He pauses, trying to organize his thoughts. Who is after you? I also heard something else. They said the person looking for me claimed to be my sister. You have a sister? I did, yeah. Or I do. But I don't even know if it's really her. Just because someone says they're my sister. Well, I can't be sure. The thing is, I haven't seen my sister in a long time. I was still a kid when she left. So was she. Though, I don't think she would have liked to admit it at the time. He smiles to himself. I know you don't remember how it was. Back in Darkside, I mean. He sighs. But we were alone, you and me. Lane didn't let us out much, just to work, and that was all. So when I overheard one of his guys mention someone was sniffing around, trying to find me, I didn't know what to think. He frowns. And then, hearing it could have been my sister, he goes quiet. You try to recall that time, the cycle spent under Lane's influences, working for him in exchange for stabilizer. You close your eyes, focus, but the details flicker. The images collapse and reform. Has Seraphin told you this before? Was this all a part of your plan? You wanted to go find her. Yes, he shrugs. It changes things for me. The thought that she could be out there. Don't get me wrong. I wanted to get you out of there too. He pauses. You sense he's finding this difficult. I know it doesn't matter now, but I told you about her back then. Before. I'm sorry I don't remember. It's okay, Sleeper. I understand. Since we got away, since Hexport, I've been asking around, speaking to spacers, traders, and like I said, something has finally come up. It seems whoever was trailing me left Darkside pretty soon after Utsubo caught wind of her sniffing around. I doubt they made her feel very welcome, but I managed to get a name. The name she gave, Luz, wasn't my sister's, but that doesn't mean much. It gave me something to follow. She bounced around the wash a while. Far Spindle, Flotsam, not sure why. The last thing she did was book passage to Wellspring on a low-tick freighter. That's it. I could have helped. I wanted something concrete, something clear. You want to help? Now's your chance. I want to go to Wellspring Sleeper. I don't know if it's really her, and if it isn't, to settle what needs settling. Let's do it. Thank you, Sleeper. He meets her eye. I will admit it has been strange, reminding myself that everything we talked about back on Darkside, everything we did, it's lost now. He smiles, but I'm glad to see you're still you, whatever that means. Me too. He nods. Anyway, better get back to it. Yes, Jeff? Anyway, better get back to it. He squeezes past. Oh, we're still on the standby screen. Oops. This is Seraphim. We are hiding in a part of the rig. Thanks, Jer. Where's the thing? Here it is. You watch him go, wondering if your past together can ever be reclaimed. Your mind wanders to thoughts of Seraphim's sister. For a moment you wonder what it's like to have a family and if you will ever know. Spindle. Oh good, I can finally buy fuel. Neutral. I just need one more neutral outcome. Whoop, minor drive update. One upgrade point. Continue. The Far Spindle lives up to its name, its tall stature making a real effort to travel from end to end. The local solution to this problem are the transit tunnel's massive tubes bolted onto the outside of the spindle that allow for rapid passage from bottom to top. As you find yourself in one of these cavernous passages, bulky cargo haulers rushing by, you start to wonder if braving them is worth the effort. Back up! The shout rattles down the bare transit corridor like a gunshot and is rapidly followed by a crunching impact. You spin back, pushing yourself against the side of the wide cylindrical passage. As you do, a hauler glides past, sending a rippling wave of air across you in its wake. When the roar subsides, you hear a string of expeltos coming from nearby. A spiky-looking figure clutching some oddly shaped, open-frame object gestures wildly at the vehicle as it glides away. Dickhead! She spits an impressive glob of saliva down the tunnel, and it spirals in 0G. She turns to you in her anger. You see that? Tried to slam me into the wall. Total dickhead. She nods firmly. No shit. Haulers hate us. She sniffs and looks you up and down. Not supposed to be in the transit system without a vehicle. She squints. Not like I care, but maybe you do. What about you? She shakes the open frame in her hand. What does this look like to you? She rolls one of her shoulders, stretching it out. You're new here, right? Yes. She shrugs empathetically. Figures. Let me give you a tip. She begins checking her open frame vehicle, tightening bolts and untangling pipes. Avoid the haulers. Dickheads, the lot of them. Especially the water haulers. Think they're better than anyone. Don't mess with the stevedores, though. They're good people. Get treated like shit by everyone else just like us. She rapidly plugs and unplugs a series of connectors. They'll show you the shortcuts. She looks up and never, ever get in a spindle jack's way. She smiles, spinning the vehicle in her hands. Spindle jack? She thumps her chest. You're looking at one. She pauses, considering something, and then suddenly she reaches into one of her many pockets and pulls out a small, transparent rectangle punched with holes. The text glints within it, reading, Cadet, Stripline Express. You take it. Cadet, she flexes proudly. That's me. Stripline is my outfit. Kamal's the dispatcher. A small outfit, but we punch above our weight. Dispatch is here in the spindle's core, but I run the transit tunnels up and down the spindle 10 times a cycle. You need anything moving on the spindle? Data, tech, messages? Too hot for the hard line? Come find me. I'll do that. She nods. Tell them I sent you. They'll make sure it gets to me. She kicks off the wall and mounts her bike, triggering a small burst of compressed air to keep herself steady in the transit passage. You hear a buzz of distorted speech from what you assume is her dispatcher. Cadet angles her head to her communicator and mutters back into it. Gotta hop, sleeper. She looks over at you, and something flickers in her eyes. An idea, or just a realization? You might be able to help me with something. Package that's been bothering me. She squints down the passage. Come to the office at Stripline in a few cycles, and I'll show you. Sure. We'll call it a favor on account of me saving you from being flattened by a hauler. She winks. Now you better get out of here before another hauler tries to squish you. You step back as she twists the handlebars and a burst of air sends her flying down the transit corridor at an unsettling speed. You watch her go, slightly caught off guard by her final remarks. What could a courier need you for? You turn the idea over in your head as you find a way out the transit corridor, back to the safety of the main concourse. We have a new drive. And I want to go back to bed. I want to go back to sleep now. Not just ending the cycle, I would like to go back to physical sleep now. Okay, we are starving once again. Let's go buy some kelp cakes. Spindle trade hall? No. Spindles at... that doesn't make anything go. Okay, let's impress her. Earn a meal. Okay, we have a bunch of 6s, so maybe we can make some good. Alright. We did this, we did that. I'm pretty sure I need to get out of here soon. Sleeper. Cadet drifts from the shadows outside Bliss's Bay, looking around nervously as she approaches. Seems like I'm going to need to call in that favor. Her face is pale and deathly serious. Are you okay? She doesn't seem to hear you, distracted by a group of spacers gliding noisily down the passage behind her. She waits until they pass. Someone hit Stripline. No idea where Kamal is. Bunch of goons tearing the place apart as we speak. She screws up her face in pain. Even tried to grab me, but those muscle heads are slow. Wait, why? Remember that package I asked for your help with? The one that was bothering me? Remember you mentioning it? I reckon it's got something to do with it. The job was a bust, an express run all the way to the underhang, but when I got there, no one home. She's whispering now, leaning closer. Place was smashed up, like someone got there first. Should have dumped the package and run, but I brought it back like a good girl. Stashed it in a safe spot at Stripline. Thought the sender might come to recover, and when they didn't, well, I got curious. I popped it open. She shakes her head. Stupid thing to do. Inside was a drive encrypted to hell and back. When I ran into you, well, I heard sleepers are good with data, with tech, so I thought you might be able to look at it. She shrugs. Now Stripline's trash too. Here's the thing. Back when I popped it open, I noticed the drive had a dispatch marker. Hexport. Could it be connected to Hexport getting atomized? Yeah, that's where I'm at too. That thing was sent out from here just before it got cooked. She pauses, and with the kind of attention I've been getting the past couple cycles, she slips a hand terminal from her bag, taps a couple times, and holds it up to you. Cadet stares out at you from the screen, straight-faced and pale. Beside her picture, you see in block capitals, Spindlejack, KD 754, in breach of VAR spindle codes B12 and F34. Reward for information leading to capture. Considered dangerous. Dickheads blasted it out on the transit channels. Every Spindlejack, hauler, and freight carrier is gonna be watching for me. She pulls back the hand terminal angrily, stuffing it away in her bag. Something's going on. Anyone who can help? She looks away. Spindeljacks don't make friends easily, and now all the couriers I do know are looking to turn me in for a payout. She snaps her head to the side, her eyes flashing with anger. Why do you think I'm here? It's time for that favor, Sleeper. She meets your eye. My connections are burned. Hell, my whole career is gone. I need to fight back. I walk away. There's nothing to walk away to. She softens a little. I need your help. What can I do? I need you to get the drive. She takes a breath. If they want it that much, they can use it to buy my way out of this shit show. And I tucked it away somewhere safe, so my guess is they haven't gotten it yet. You just slip in, I give you the location, and you pull the thing out. She folds her arms. Should be simple. None of this is simple. Just snatch it and go. Don't overthink it. Look, this thing turns out to be worth something, you'll get your due. All I want is my life back. The drive is in the workshop. There's a loose panel behind an air bike rack. She leans in. It's taped to the back of the fuse box inside. I've got to keep heading down Spindle, on the overhang, past the end of the transit tunnels. No one will rat me out there. She glances around. I'll come find you when it's done. I've still got some network access. I'll know when you go in. She winks, offering no further explanation. My bike's locked up nearby. I'm gonna hop. Do me this favor, then we are clear. Stay safe. Doing my best, Sleeper. She gives you a mock salute. She slips back into the shadows, and a few moments later you hear the percussive pulse of an air bike accelerating away. You know, at least, what it's like to be on the run, to flee for your life. And in that you feel an empathy, a connection with Cadet. But from every other angle, this thing looks like bad news. The kind a sensible person would steer clear well from. And perhaps you would steer well clear if it wasn't for one detail that has stuck in your mind. The drive is from Hexport. Is all that enough to send you down to Stripline in search of that drive? Only time will tell. I'm gonna do the engineer stuff because I'm an engineer. Strip line is nestled in among other units. You make progress mapping the vents and the ducts behind strip line, but it's frickin' exhausting. You slide the loose panel away from the wall, letting it float there, beside the air bike rack. Behind it, in the dark, you see the blinking lights of the fuse box. The noise nearby draws your attention for a moment, the scrape of a sliding door maybe, or just some old system cycling in the walls. It took long enough to gain access to the Stripline Express bike garage, and longer still to find a safe route to the air bike racks. But you're almost there. You have seen and heard the hired muscles searching and guarding this place, but have been lucky enough to not come face to face with them yet. You turn your back to the darkness behind the panel. What if what Cadet said is right, the drive is taped to the back of the fuse box in front of you? You reach through and around slowly, carefully, and your hand settles on something cold and metallic in the dark. It's taped firmly to the box. You pull at it, but it doesn't budge. A quiet rattle echoes from the dispatch office next door, and you freeze for a second. It seems Cadet was a little too enthusiastic with the tape. But we passed the check. You close your eyes and feel for the seams of the tape. Taking your time, you pick at it, working each piece away from the drive. You hear a clattering sound nearby as you peel off the final piece, and the drive spins into your hand. Time to move. You slip the drive inside your coat and kick away from the wall, gliding back towards the maintenance corridor you entered from. As you cross the bike garage, you hear voices in the dispatch office next door. Just as you tuck yourself into the cool darkness of the maintenance corridor, a screech indicates the opening of a door from the office next door. Voices rumble through the room, and you quickly and quietly push yourself deeper into the guts of the building. Too close. Barely daring to breathe, you carefully make your way through the maze of passages that brought you here, their dog legs and dead ends now familiar. Eventually, you spot a thin slit of light ahead. Marking the loose panel, you leave it open to gain entrance. You take a deep breath, almost there. As you reach the gap, you freeze. Voices rumble from beyond and peering through. You see two figures in dark clothes searching the chaotic bay behind the strip line. Your eyes are drawn to the boxy weapon one holds at their side. Shit! You hiss silently to yourself, your eyes searching for a path through. Waiting for an opening. We had a positive outcome. Yay! You wait, silent and still. As the figures search, they split and drift across the bay. You take the chance, sliding open the panel and slipping behind the scrap and boxes at the edge of the room. Tucked into the shadows, you make your way to the far side of the bay and the public passage beyond. There's a hiss and the guttural chatter of a pressure valve as an air bike pulls up beside you in the passage. Cadet leans over and grabs the collar of your coat. Hop on. In a moment, you're on the back of the air bike, clutching the strap of Cadet's bag as she guns it down the passage, the air resistance almost ripping you from the thin seat. You lean against her back and let out a sigh, the drive pressing into your ribs beneath your jacket. You did it. Still alive back there? Cadet's voice brings you back from the hypnotic rhythm of the tunnel lights rushing past the air bike. She slows the bike with a rapid series of hisses, and you realize that she has brought you back to the passage outside Bliss's Bay. You try to understand the route she took, the long loop through the branching transit tunnels of the station, but give up. You can let go now. She straightens up, and you unhook your fingers from her bag strap, separating yourself from her back. You push off the bike gently and float in the passage beside her. You okay? Looked pretty rough back there. She smiles. Appreciate you putting it all on the line for me. Who were those guys? Your guess is as good as mine, she shrugs. Didn't look like anyone nice, though. I wouldn't sweat it. She smiles. Go on then, let's see the drive. You fish the drive out of your jacket and hand it over. That's the one. She squints at it. Should have chucked it when I had the chance. You get your first good look at it. There's not much to see. A small lump of solid-state memory, a few markers on the case. You spot a yellow hex among them. Hexport. What now? She winks and slides her bag around her shoulder to the front and slots the drive neatly into a pocket. I know someone in the scatter yards who can crack anything. She'd be my first port of call to crack this thing open. She stretches her shoulders. And I should make myself scarce from the spindle anyway, before those dickheads come catch up with me. Come with us. Appreciate the offer, but I think it's best if we go our separate ways for now. 2 targets are harder to track than 1. She cycles the pressure valve on the bike impatiently. Cadet leans away from her bike, squinting out of the viewing window at your ship behind. That yours? She doesn't wait for an answer. If I'm not mistaken, that old thing is going to struggle to reach the scatter yards unless you've added a HasNav suite. I have not. You need hazard navigation to make the crossing safely. Lotek Syndicate created the tech to help their tankers across the belt. Common knowledge. Cadet nods at your ship. Maybe if you head up to Wellspring, you can barter or steal a suite, she adds casually. Here, Cadet unties a bag lashed to her bike frame and holds it out to you. Not enough for a refit, but maybe you can find some use for him. You take the bag and something clinks inside as you do. You open it to see a couple engine components. I was gonna use them to boost her. She taps the frame of the airbike. But you deserve them. She meets your eye, then looks away. Not like I'll be doing any runs for a while. Anyway. Thanks. It's nothing. Like I said, you deserve them. She flexes her fingers on the bike's handles, eager to be away. Cadet's airbike stutters and purrs, trembling in the air like an arrow ready to be loosed. See you around. She winks and guns the throttle, zipping off down the passage with a pulse of air that ripples through your clothes. You stare after her as she goes, the bag of components still hanging from your hand. You realize as you look down the passage that you never asked how Cadet plans to get to the scatter yards. That question, like a score of others, will have to wait until you run into her next. Although you have a feeling she will find a way to slip away before you can ask them next time too. You head back towards your ship to stow the components, idly wondering if you could justify buying an airbike to Seraphine as you do so. Hello, hello. Totally legit hydration for 100 taco points. Welcome in, Research Ninja. We are playing... close the pop-up. We are playing Citizen Sleeper 2. It has been nearly 2 hours. We are a sleeper. It is going fun. I make bad decisions, but so far I have still made it. And yes, so grand. The grandest. We make bad decisions, but somehow we're still alive. Ooh, Avowed. I was watching someone play Avowed earlier. It came up on my Steam look at me roundtable thing that they do. Ugh. Game Pass? Nice. Nice. I'm trying to buy this. It's Kingdoms of Amalur, but made by Obsidian. I'm sure lots of people are like, not Skyrim. Oh, okay, I get it. Lots of time and quality of life put into it, but not as good as Kingdoms. Okie dokie, okie dokie. I know you. I walked with you once upon a dream. I know you. The gleam in your eye is so familiar, the gleam. That is what one of the reviews said, discount Skyrim. And I was like, that sounds like not very nice. Okay, we are no more things to throw around, so we have to go lie down. And the hunt is almost here, so whatever we're gonna do within the next 2 cycles. I was really hoping to become the gambler's friend, but you know, I might not. Thank you for letting me know my laundry's done. I have no endure. I am not that kind of sleeper. And once again, we are out of that. Needing to buy more things. More things. We have more than enough of that. We have some of that. Is there anything else I can do? Impress Nembo. Okay, looks like I'm about to do neither. Become the gambler's friend, or... But I have one more cycle, and then I gotta keep going. Actually, if I want to get on in a new place, I probably should just try. We impress Nemba. Sleeper, Nemba wants to see you. You nod to the other volunteers as you wipe off your hands and clip your cutlery to the magnetic rack. You drift out to the improvised canteen on your way to the kitchen in the back. It was a busy shift, and each shift seemed... I hope you guys' Sunday are going well, by the way. I didn't say any of that to anybody, but happy Sunday. I hope your weekend was good, that you got some rest and felt some rejuvenation, and you weren't just being doom scrolly all the time, which is what I do most of the time. Anyways, It was a busy shift, and each shift seems busier than the last. That makes sense, of course. You've seen the steady flow of refugees from the inner system, and most of them, with barely a chit to their name, end up in the underhang. As you cross into the kitchen, you can still hear the rumble of refugees' conversations through the hatch. The other chef leads you to the couldn't stream landlord was doing work on the apartment. Oh no. By the way, if y'all haven't seen Research Ninja playing things, go follow Research Ninja playing this really awesome 90s space story, The Gun Dog, Stories from Seoul. It has 3 different art styles for the game, and it's so funny. Leads you past the rehydrators and the hand-built centrifugal oven to a small office unit in the back of the kitchen. They knock on the door for you, then glide away to finish their own meal, leaving you to wait by it. You look around a small but carefully arranged kitchen as you wait. Your shifts here having left you familiar with a mix of improvised and salvaged equipment, some of which you had never seen before you came here. Come in, sleeper. Nemba is perched at the desk, uplit by a small transparent terminal screen, reading glasses perched on the end of his nose. You've seen Nemba before, but not as much as you'd imagine you would like while working in a place called Nemba's Kitchen. Even though there isn't a proper sign out front, everyone in the underhang knows its name. The man himself is more of a mystery. Apart from the occasional barked order in the busy kitchen, he is little more than a blur to you. Why do you work here? He barely looks up from his terminal screen, scrolling text reflected in his lenses. The food is good. Nemba stops scrolling the screen and looks over his glasses at you. You do well here, sleeper. You are fast, precise. You are doing good work. Thanks. Nemba lifts a hand in response. That's my worry, sleeper. Good workers like you, they move on fast. He leans back and looks at you. 10 cycles, maybe more, maybe less, and then they're gone. And the team gets used to having them here, gets used to working at that pace, and then suddenly they have to work differently. They have to pick up the slack, change jobs, change stations, and a few of them think, well, maybe it's time I moved on too. So what I found is good workers are trouble, especially those who come and go like you. He pauses, watching you. Let him speak. This place, it runs on consistency, sleeper. Those that turn up every cycle, good or bad, then they get the people fed. He takes off his reading glasses, inspecting them for smudges. Let's be honest, that ain't you. So let's cut to it. You can't use the kitchen. I can't use you in the kitchen anymore. You're done. He shrugs. Sorry. But this place also runs on all those machines out there. On the suppliers I can rope in, the donations. Feeding refugees from the inner system is logistics as much as it is chefing. Which is why I'm cooped up in the back. So maybe you're gone. I never see you again. Okay, thanks for coming. We'll soldier on without you. But maybe you still want to be useful. Maybe I heard you have a ship. He smiles at you. Yeah, maybe I heard you chatting. And maybe I have a little something held up in a place only a ship like yours can reach. I negotiated the purchase of some valuable inner system spores from a group that came from there, but they somehow ended up at the depot in Greenbelt. So, if you head to Greenbelt and you find the delivery, you can bring it back. Well, Nemba looks at you pointedly. That would be helping. That would be the kind of helping a good worker, even an inconsistent worker, might be able to offer me. Nemba squints at you. The Gun Dog, you say? Yes, Jer, it's a very fun game. If you have any time, you should check it out. Saber's emote is perfect for that. Seems like the kind of thing that someone genuine, someone who wants to help for real might do, don't you think? He doesn't wait for your reply. But it also seems like the kind of thing that might sit on a list of priorities for so long it disappears and it never gets done. I've seen that happen too. I guess we'll find out which it is. He deftly places his reading glasses back on his face and continues to scroll the screen on his terminal. You know the way out, Sleeper. You turn in the doorway, slightly taken aback as it slides shut behind you. You glide throughout the kitchen, through the improvised canteen, and the people eating and chatting there into the cold underhang passageway beyond. All the time considering what you might do next, recalling that persuasive glint in Nemba's eyes. Okay. Let's go. To Flotsam, I guess. And then I have, what, 4 cycles? Until somebody gets me. It's hard to tell where Flotsam ends and the ship's park at its many docking bridges begin. As Seraphim docks with the station, you realize that the rig now looks like just another piece of accumulated technology. One more bit of driftwood added to the raft. I love this place. Seraphim smiles as he shuts down the engines. You never know what you'll find. You've been here before? Oh, yeah, that's right. You weren't here for the first stream. So there's this dude who has access to our head because we're a sleeper, which means we're a robot. We sold our consciousness into slavery because we were indebted to a company. So they put your human body to sleep and they send your consciousness out in various robots. Yeah, I see who also did not watch the first game. That's okay, that's okay. If you play the first game, you will know all of this very well. Oh, I see. But again, they're not super story combined just yet in the beginning of Citizen Sleeper 2. But yeah, when I first came to the belt, the crew I signed on used to run salvage jobs out of here. Fun place to spend your wages. You see Bliss eyeing the station with what looks like both horror and fascination. You see the seals? They point at some twisted assemblage of ship parts. Total cowboy welds. They could pop at any moment. Seraphim waves away their concerns. Oh, that's just the outer layer. I heard there's 6 or 7 in all, so if one fails, no problem. He stretches and turns to you. You've got to taste some of the stuff they grow in Old Takahi. He kisses his fingers. That's the good shit. Oh, great. So many layers of redundancy and fallbacks that you have no hope of isolating a leak and fixing it. They rap on the wall of the rig. Sounds like a ship I know. Defend the rig. Seraphim joins in. The two of you shoulder to shoulder. She's got you out here, didn't she? He shrugs at Bliss. No sense of gratitude. I was joking. Bliss looks a little hurt and drifts out of the cockpit, shaking their head. You go to follow, but Seraphim puts a hand on your shoulder. Sleeper? He looks suddenly serious. Remember what I said about getting checked out. There are artificers all over this place. It'll take a bit of searching, but we need to know what's going on with you. The character art is so good. That's why we're here. I'll handle it. Good, Seraphim nods. Let me know what they say. I'm gonna go see if any of my old haunts are still open. He drifts out of the cockpit with a mock salute. Catch you later. Welcome in, Icy, welcome in. You are left alone in the cockpit with a view of Flotsam's chaotic structure. You look over the multicolor plating. As it does, you admit, have a certain charm. Thank you for the shout out, friend. Analyze the structure. Awesome Explorer. +1. Oh, we discovered a new location! The Narrow Escape! The Narrow Escape's barman, Botan, has a tip about a recovery contract for a few chits. He'll give you the coordinates. Look at that. That is some... that is some extra energy there. I like it. I like it. Oof, down on my legs. Still, I want to explore. Or do I want to go to do this? One, two, three, let's go! Doing a contract makes it harder to be found too. That's so nice! Asteroid, keep your hands where I can see 'em. The voice crackles over the open channel of your suit as you near the stranded rig. You slow your approach a little as you move towards the ship, its shape lumpy and skeletal in the distant light of the sun. A warm welcome. Bodes well for the rest of the job. Bless shoots you a concerned look. You look up at the stranded ship ahead. Clearly, they're feeling a bit exposed. We're here to help. Well, I figured that, the voice retorts. Otherwise, I would have put a hole in that shiny rig of yours already. You arrive at the side of the rig, inspecting the damage as you do. Half the hull plating and the big chunks of internal structure seem to be missing, but you have a feeling that this is not what you're here to fix. The airlock opens and you move inside, the interior all exposed wires, metal framework, and the systems wheeze and shudder as it cycles. Nothing of value here, so if you're looking to steal something, you're welcome to it. Alma greets you plainly inside the rig. You do the work that's needed, and I'll let you take your half of the haul. Understood? Well, all right then. Her face is as placid and as unchanging as a rock. She looks so cool. Here's the short of it. Engine's conked out on me, and I'm no engineer. Can usually get her going, but this time no dice. She looks between you and the rest of the crew. Surprised there's so many of you, to be honest. Bliss smiles sympathetically. Sorry about that. But don't worry. I've worked on these engines before. They give Alma a wink. I can handle this. Don't be so sure. Alma leads you towards the engine room, the layout of her rig much the same as yours. The girl is the sensitive type. You need to know how to handle her. I love it when machineries have personality. I love it. I'm sorry. The central corridor of the ship snakes in a way that isn't familiar to you, and you realize that this rig is far more heavily modified than your own. Something that becomes all the more obvious when you arrive in the engine room. Rather than the rig's stock engine, a singular block and a double turbine with feed lines between. Alma's engine is a mass of piping feed lines linking up multiple raw components welded to the interior frame of the room. Your eyes widen at the sight. Been adding to her since I was young. Alma smiles at the chaos. Might look a mess, but she purrs when she's running. Bliss is shaking their head slowly. Oh, sleeper. They let out a puff of air. This is going to be special. You struggle to tell if they are intimidated or impressed. Perhaps it's a little bit of both. That's all about all of it. Alma gestures to the exploded engine. Get her running and you'll get your half of the haul. We'll do what we can. Hope you aren't time wasters. Alma squints at you. You certainly are a strange crew. Alma glides over to a window set in the side of the engine room and points to the corroded remains of the facility, deep in the asteroid's loose, dusty surface. There's the hall. She taps on the glass. Good a find as I've ever seen. The hall is a building? Building and what's in it? Alma screws up her face. What, you too good for scrapping? By rights, that building's mine. Scrapper's claim. Alma scratches her at her mess of hair. But you help me get her running, and you are welcome to take what you want from it, up to a maximum of 50% of raw mass, that is. We have to extract it ourselves? She looks you up and down. You feel the first acknowledgement of you being a sleeper. I doubt it'll trouble one of you. Anyway, you're leaving with nothing unless my girl here is back in shape by the time you're done. She folds her arms across her chest. So get to it. You turn back to the engine, your eyes tracing the madness of the interlocking systems. You are starting to have the horrible feeling that this contract is some kind of elaborate joke. Okay, I am an engineer. I chose the engineer class. Alma's girl. Who's Alma's good girl? Is it you? It looks like it's you. Oh no, I had a negative outcome. Yes. It's very good. Purr for me. Why are yours so low? This is Intuit or engineer. This is dangerous and that's risky. Okay. Alma's engine fills the room like some kind of esoteric sculpture. Try to fix it. To try to fix it, you must be understood. Positive outcome. I do like that in Citizen Sleeper 2 you get a chance to work with other people. Like use them and their dice rolls for doing things. Alright, let's pet that engine some more. Pet the engine. Pet it. Pet the engine. There we go. You all gather in Alma's rig to see the engine tested. The engine room purrs and chitters. It seems to warm with the sound of the engine, with the polyrhythmic vibrations that rattle through the open framework of the interior. You look over to Alma and see her eyes are closed, a small tremble at the corner of her mouth. You look at the engine, Alma's engine, an object you have come to respect over the past cycles, even if you haven't necessarily grown to love it. It is, as you see now, a difficult thing to love. Whole parts of it make little sense, and its oldest systems, those now bypassed and made obsolete by newer additions, still somehow play an integral role you don't understand. It's unwieldy and unnecessarily so, and the accumulation of parts and patches from its long service make it surprisingly fragile. Meanwhile, other sections have been welded and re-welded so many times that they are impregnable and will never be able to replace. It is uncooperative and prone to sudden outbursts of cooling fluid or even fuel. It is restless and will begin to leak when left idle for too long. It is always too cold or too hot, and thanks to the coolant and the fuel, it's hard to predict which it will be at any given moment. And yet, despite all this, it is an object you feel close to, that you feel a kinship with, because in the end, you too are an accumulation of broken parts, long outliving their operational limits. You too are a machine that has become a story that has grown beyond the ability of others to understand it. You look over to Alma again, and Bliss is there beside her. You can see they are talking, but with the engine running, you cannot hear them. You watch for a moment, Bliss now patiently listening as, in faltering words, Alma explains something to them. Bliss nods, and then suddenly they embrace, gently and with care. I poured the water too quickly. No! It's not in my keyboard though, so it's fine. Because I have a preference for this water bottle over here, but it doesn't hold as much water, so I like to fill the other one too. And I need to go get something to mop up this water. Took my dogs for a little walk earlier, and I realize now that I didn't give them any treats. I don't remember if I remembered to brush their teeth this morning or not, so I feel like I should do that. But I don't remember, and I don't know. Water. There was water. They embrace gently and with care. Bliss pushes back, and as soon as the moment passed, it seems like it might not have happened at all. Nothing in the two figures' attitudes betray the act, and the room seems unchanged. You try to remember if you've seen them speaking before now, but you recall there are many moments you were not with Bliss. As you watch Alma approach, you realize the engine is not just special to you, and that between her and Bliss, it might have been the bridge to a unique kind of respect. That's the job, Sleeper. Alma approaches you from the other side of the room, and you know where the payment is to be found. I believe that brings our business to an end. Alma scratches at her hair. Unless you have something in mind. What will you do now? I believe that's my business. She bristles at the question. I need to find somewhere quiet to resupply and so on, but I don't think you'd like my usual haunts. She gives you a sly look. I appreciate the assistance. You are welcome to take what you want from the hangar, if you haven't already. You see a knowing shimmer in her eyes. Now I must kindly ask you to leave my ship. As the airlock cycles, you look across at Bliss and swear you see a tear in their eye. Are you okay? Bliss turns to you as if they forgot you were there. I'm good, Sleeper. Really good. They sniff. This place reminded me of why I do what I do. Why I fix things. They look ahead. There's beauty in it. You find yourself drifting away from Alma's rig in a haze of thoughts. It's clear to you that this point of Alma's history is written all over this place, but it's more than that. Well, you can't be sure. The story, it seems, isn't for you. You realize, as you gaze at the broken remains of the facility, that Alma never took any of her half of the haul. You turn back and squint at the cockpit of her rig. You see her there, looking out across this wasteland, still as a statue. It's an image that, if you load into the rig and begin the preparations to depart, will stick with you. One that every time you enter the engine room of your ship, a room almost identical to the engine room of Alma's rig, will leap into your mind. A woman, floating above the wreck of what was once her home, looking for a reason to keep going. Alright. You rest a moment, taking a break from dragging the plates you've cut across the asteroid surface. You find yourself looking upwards towards Alma's rig, still there on the edge of the crater, and wonder if she's watching. With her engine fixed, you half expected her to leave immediately, but she remains there on the horizon, unable to leave this place, as if in response to your comms channel buzzes. A nice pile you've got there, Alma announces herself on the open channel. We'll make scrappers of you kids yet. That scrap will earn you a pretty penny if you know what you're doing, she continues. Holmes Rock is always a good place to offload. I'll give you that for free. You look at the stack of ragged, torch-cut plates as they are loaded up onto the rig's cargo hold. You have to admit you do feel a little pride in the work done. Thanks. You earned it. You glance over your shoulder at the cockpit of Alma's rig, where you can see her watching. What is this place? There's a click on the open channel as it closes. Alma seems to take a moment to consider her response. She clears her throat. How about you tell me what you think, Sleeper? A signal station? Ha, sounds like a mystery story. Alma coughs and sputters. No, nothing as interesting as secret communiques were coming out of this place when it was still alive. Alma goes quiet for a moment, but you wait, getting the feeling that there's still more to be said. See the old arrays on the far side? You turn and look towards the rocks, towards the broken frames and panels you can just make out in the dust, catching the sun's weak light. Those are the first priority. Recharge the cells for the excavators, the welders. Turn the scrap into something livable. She falters and coughs. Look at 'em now. You see the tumble down the collection of panels, and they look like they were scattered by a careless hand, discarded without much thought. The comms channel clicks off, and you see the distant silhouette of Alma drift from view out of the cockpit of her rig. You turn back to see the scrap has been loaded into the ship. You're half the haul, though you suspect this place is more than just a haul to Alma. There's a hiss and rush. There's There's a hiss and rush of stale air as the sealed bay, deep in the facility's tunnels, opens for the first time in years. The beams of your suit lamps reach into the dark, picking out waves of dust and debris. They reveal a small bay, big enough for a shuttle, but not a rig like yours. As you glide inside, those same beams catch on the frame of something that sits in the center of the bay. It's wide and flat, with a cylindrical central section that runs its length. As you move around it, looking at the sections of plates and open frame, you realize it's a ship, or at least it was. This frame, filled with rusted components and partially covered in old hull plates, suggests a fast ship, an arrowhead designed to cut through debris and even atmosphere. You float up a little to see into its central cylinder, and your lamps reveal a cockpit outfitted for 2 people. One sat behind the other. The seats are carefully upholstered, and you realize that this was a labor of love. The whole ship, in fact, seems built by hand, a custom model with little function out here beyond looping around asteroids for the thrill of it. Looking closer, brushing away the surface corrosion, you see flames painted on the hull plates in curling patterns, the brushstrokes visible even after what must be many years. As you inspect the half-finished ship, a sense of quiet wonder is keeping you silent. You notice a glint towards its rear. You approach it and see an engine, all interlocking tubes and flared vents. It's unlike any you have ever seen, but the holes in its side suggest it may never have been finished. Those holes are the source of the glint. You reach in and pull out some strange-looking engine components, each pristine and complex. You hesitate for a moment, suddenly feel like you shouldn't be disturbing such an intimate object. but it occurs to you that nothing would please the person who built the ship more than seeing these handmade components put to use. You secure them to your suit and push away from the ship. As you leave the bay, you turn and take one last look at the treasure inside. It's possible that it never flew, or perhaps it was in the middle of an extensive refit when this place was abandoned. Either way, its flying years have long since passed, and now with the bay open, it will corrode much faster, melding with the atomized scrap of this place in mere cycles. You suppress a shiver, and then start the journey back up to the surface, aware of the components dangling at your side. The contract is concluded, and I feel very tired. Halloween! Welcome in! I hope you had a good stream. What were you playing? Let's see. So, Colleen! Masters! Everyone who is here ought to know Colleen. Oh, you were playing Yakuza Kiwami. How was that? I hope you are having the best weekend so far. I'm gonna risk it. Whoop whoop. Neutral outcome. We're playing Citizen Sleeper 2. It's a dice-centric game. And it has a previous game that's also really fun and very different. I'm finding. So far I really like it. I like being able to go out on contracts into space and then use crew members that you can have whole storylines with, and it's very nice. It's very good. It's very worthy of your time if you have an interest in choose your own adventure space stories. The chaos of Flotsam intrigues you. Passage to passage, it is the most incoherent place you have ever visited. Plating, cladding, and cushioning, all kinds of conditions hide a forest of wires, ducts, interfacing in ways their manufacturers would never dream possible. Variety is fun. Rooms are crushed cargo bays, flipped bridges, and eviscerated engine rooms. Patchwork corridors are lumping with messy welds, bending worryingly along their length. It is, to put nicely, a total mess. It's not that you don't like it, but finding an artificer among this chaos has been more than a little challenging. This cycle, searching these winding passages once more, seeing only scrap merchants and junk shops, you have begun to wonder if Seraphin had any idea what he was talking about when he advised you to come here. A sleeper, the voice cuts through the pungent air. Well, I never. And they have the coolest character art in this game. I love it. I hope your lurk goes very, very well. And you have the best night and a good Monday tomorrow. And where am I? I am lost. Oh no! I hit a option for reading and I didn't read it. I apparently called this person rude. You glance in the voice's direction and find yourself looking at a small booth piled with tech. Behind a fogged and scratched plastic screen is a meticulously arranged counter, the only clear spot in sight. At it, an older man with wet, wandering eyes sits neatly, and I apparently called him rude. Sean Me tilts his head. I didn't mean to be rude. Please. And he bows a little. That's okay. He smiles warmly, almost bowing again, his hunched shoulders accentuating the movement. How? He pauses, taking care with his speech now. How are you feeling, sleeper? He beckons you a little closer. I'm Michael. Though, please, to you, Jean Me. I work with machines. He sweeps a hand above his counter, where you see configurations of tiny parts, mostly small ones. I'm not great. Of course, he chops with his hand to indicate a stool with a leg bar, meant for perching beside his counter. And such is the clarity and persuasiveness of his movement that you obligingly sit. Your presence is a rare honor here. He smiles and looks down into his lap. I'm very sorry if I make you uncomfortable. I'm just very pleased to see you. Can I help you with something? I was more imagining I could help you. I can see your journey to me has not been easy, he says with genuine concern. You track his eyes across your body, noticing the scuff marks on your thick, vinyl-like skin. They are placed in broken parts of your body, the marks of violence. You pull your jacket a little tighter. Shanmi folds his hands one over the other and places them on the counter. I do not know what your experience have been, but I want to assure you that I see you as a person, a being, a soul, shall we say, as valid as any other. You look at Jean-Mi, his own age and wear also evident, a life of precise and careful work shaping his body into a reflection of his process. You note his unconfident way of speaking, which betrays a certain loneliness, a lack of practice. It's his turn to feel observed. I understand. You are kind. The frankness of the remark takes you by surprise. He looks down at his counter and begins to take apart a tiny piece of machinery that sits there. Many years ago, when I began my apprenticeship, I would find that whenever I saw something that, how to say, was not working well, I was fixated on it and its repair. He tinkers with the parts, twisting them precisely. Of course, the belt is filled with this kind of dysfunctional detail. And I was so busy for many years with these small fixings, he smiles in reminiscence. But now, I find that when I'm interested in a thing that is not working as it should, he sharply twists one of the parts between his fingers. It is because it might have some quality not yet foreseen or discovered. He releases the altered object into the air where it balletically twists in a hypnotic display, like the spinning top whose movements are totally unpredictable. Jean-Mi smiles at you, watching his hypnotic toy. I can see that you are in the process of becoming sleeper. He catches the spinning toy between a finger and a thumb. Let me aid you in this. What do you mean? Jean-Mi's precise hands drop a device around his neck. He deftly pulls a pair of goggles up to his face, masking his wet eyes. Hold still, sleeper. Something flickers inside the goggles, their face blank. Jean-Mi's hands play across the buttons and switches on the exterior, tuning and focusing. Let him work. When the goggles are finally lowered, they reveal a look of concern on Jean-Mi's face. I think you better come inside. He kicks off from his desk and disappears. A moment later, you hear a rattle and a small bulkhead door beside the booth that you had assumed was rusted shut creaks open. John Mee beckons you inside. John Mee's workshop is even more cramped than you expected. As you enter, you are surrounded on all sides with netting holding bundles and bundles of terminals, servers, drives, and cables. At its center, a padded seat with a set of articulated arms mounted with sensors and tools fill the space. The seat, please. John Mee gestures at it with a polite smile. Sit. You tentatively settle on the seat, slipping your arms and feet into the straps meant to keep you from floating out of it in 0G. John Mee floats beside you. He looks across your body. There is damage here. I see that. We will get to that. But I see something else here. This is why you came. He looks at you solemnly. Yes. Though I have never met a sleeper, I have studied them. I was lucky to acquire some materials from Essen Arp some time ago, in the interest of my own endeavors. He begins arranging a series of sensors around you on articulated arms. You are pleasingly distinct from those materials. His eyes flash with excitement. Am I right in thinking you have been modified? I rebooted myself. Yes, I see that your dependency on stabilizer, on the immune recoding portion of its makeup at least, has been broken. He gives you a precise look, but that is not all. You are physically modified, not externally, but internally. He carefully positions the final sensor. Your tracker is disabled, which makes it impossible for SNOP to find you. Congratulations, he smiles proudly. But that is not all. You have been modified, yes, but you are also being modified as we speak. You feel a strange claustrophobia at John Mee's statement. Modified? Seraphim rebooted your system, ran the recoding protocol, but that shouldn't have physically changed you. It only removed your planned obsolescence. Ow. John Mee goes to a terminal and flicks a switch. Through the back of the translucent screen, you see a nodal web in the vague shape of a sitting body. Your body. These changes appear to be complex, subtle but consistent. John Mee goes silent as he taps at the terminal. The representation of your body rotating and unfolding in unsettling motions. How is this happening? How is a good question, he squints. How, I am unsure of. See here, he points at the flickering representation of your spine, tracing a line towards your head. Your nervous system is growing additional nodal points, here and here. Meanwhile, your emulation interface is growing an umbilical access port, though towards what end I am unsure. You instinctively reach back and touch the base of your head. As you do, the scan flickers and screeches with noise. You feel something there, growing under your thick vinyl skin. You can feel a lump, or is it just your imagination? You pick at it. And John Mee sighs and shuts off the terminal. The changes are partial, and in all honesty, he gestures sharply at the sensors. The resolution is too poor. I need to run a full diagnostic. But for that, I would need he drifts up over to another terminal and brings up screens and screens of text and diagrams. Yes, some kind of medium to hold your suspended emulation. The access jack I can build myself, but we'll need to bridge your emulation. John Mee speaks quietly, almost to himself. A ship mind would be ideal for this. Would have to be high capacity, a prime ship mine, Solheim in origin. Perhaps Hellion Gate might hold records of any that were in the system. He taps at the terminal. John Mee turns back to you. Yes, the prime ship mine is essential if you wish to further investigations to be done. I will need this above all. He thumbs the terminal off. I am sorry to say, Sleeper. I'm gonna need a minute. Of course. It sounds like, he's growing. John Mee busies himself with taking down the sensors, folding away the articulated arms. As he does, you try to calm yourself. You feel as though you have worms under your skin, and it takes all your focus not to pick at it, seems. Janmi suddenly but gently places the hand on yours. Please remain calm. He puts the carefully restored rare component in your hand. This can help you. Janmi waits for you to fall still. Then he leans back a little, relieving some of the strange intimacy for the moment. For now, our work is concluded. Excuse me. He meshes his fingers again and bows with a single small head bob. But you are welcome any time. Thank you. Of course. His manner seems to have returned to something more businesslike, a humble man who knows his customers' needs. You get up from the seat a little dazed and push your way into the passage. Safe travels, sleeper, Janmi says quietly, placing the promised list in your hand as he lets you back into the station. You leave dazed, unsure of how you feel about the insistence of this man's particular kindness, but most of all haunted by the idea of unseen processes that are running within you. Part of you does not wish to know anything further, and to leave this place and never look back. And another is desperate to immediately retrieve every object on this list so you may know what the strangeness is happening within you. For now, you must steady yourself and find a way to continue. Seraphine comes to find you in your bunk. After Jean-Mi's assessment, you find yourself drifting back to the rig, in need of the familiarity and comfort of your own ship. Sleeper, he drifts in. You found an artificer? He hovers by the door, looking concerned. Explain. You tell him about Jean-Mi, how he offered you repairs and ran an assessment of your frame. You describe the cramped booth, the articulated arms, the strangeness of seeing your own body anatomized upon the terminal screen. Then you tell him how your body is changing, growing in ways that Jean-Mi cannot identify, that some process has been started, and you do not know where it will end. You mention umbilical ports and nodal points, trying your best to remember the details of things Jean-Mi asked you to retrieve. Seraphine grows pale and silent. He shakes his head when you stop talking. Lane, he frowns. That piece of shit has to be behind it. We don't know that. Jean-Mi didn't say. He wouldn't know. But I know that piece of shit, and I know he would do something like this. We'll get what you need. We'll find that ship mind. He nods. A bit of work here and there, and we can make it to Hellion Gate and wherever else. Your body growing in ways you don't understand? You mean puberty? No. I mean, we're being custom rebuilt in ways that we didn't know about. What about your stuff? We'll do that too, he thumps the wall. We're free, sleeper. No one can stop us. Just say the word, okay? He goes quiet. Don't give up on yourself just yet, he smiles. Get up and get back to it. And with that, he turns and kicks off down the corridor and disappearing from sight. You wait a little while, staring at the stained ceiling of the bunks, letting the thoughts settle in your mind. And then, when you are ready, you get up and leave, dazed but with a stony determination growing in your chest. Everybody needs to drink more water. Buying scrap and fuel. Here at the Ferris tanker, the visiting fuel tanker. Flotsam. Integration. Meshing networks. Or maintenance. Maintenance. Jean-Mi's booth is over here. We need a prime ship mind. Old Takahi is the oldest ship in Flotsam and now serves as a huge hydroponic farm, keeping the station alive. Shifts are always available. Navigator officers. Okay. I am very tired. I have gotten more tired. Nothing will help with the tiredness. I'm looking for all of the people who are online. There's Saber. There's Okiko. Dramazan is playing the Silent Kingdom. Literally is on playing More Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. I don't know, but I've lost all of my energy and I need to take a nap. It just went bloop right out of my head. Ivy Mylena is playing Planet Robot. Thank you. You know, maybe we should go here. We're gonna raid Ivy. Thank you all for coming. I hope you had a good time. Please go ahead and give Citizen Sleeper 1 or 2 a try. They're very fun games. They come with a lot of big brain moments, and they make you think about your values and why you value them that way. Other than that, once again, enjoy your Sunday or the impending Monday. Remember, Mondays only have power if you give them power. Hope you guys don't forget, if you're going to bed soon, you have to brush your teeth at least once in the morning and once at night. Flossing, you should also be doing once per day. I do not. I do it once every other day. So, you know, I have no room there. But you also need to consume enough nutrients for your human body to replenish its cells and to drink lots of water so you can talk for an extended period of time. It's very hard. And 1, 2, 3, raid!